This night was once again long and hopeless at the heart of a monstrous young dance. Enveloped by an almost palpable darkness, the healed prepare for a contact with uncertainty. Here, every rustle of fire can sometimes hide a fatal threat. This is the second time in a row that, under the stars, we plunged into what can only be called a green hell, stretching for dozens of kilometers. On screen, the vegetation fortress is being scrutinized by a drone. We're in a hostile environment where the enemy also seeks to avoid surprises. This glimpse isn't the latest in cutting-edge technology, but it reassures Lieutenant Sierra, who commands the mission, as he engages his men. This paratrooper and his warriors are preparing to transform the tranquility of the forest into a veritable battlefield. The column of fighters is launched. The commandos know well that the area is riddled with terrorist bases and numerous obstacles. And like everywhere else, the enemy has changed its tactics. The most unpredictable motive is desperately to impose a new rhythm on this war, where every move counts. But the men there have the capacity to adapt. For every attack, a response, and for every obstacle, a solution. Following the first one last January, this strategic operation, called Turion Verse 2, is being deployed with military precision. The bold and methodical plan aims to recapture the rest of the Moon Loop, an area that has become the scene of incessant clashes and is infested with terrorists. Over hundreds of meters, traces of life, makeshift rifles and abandoned personal belongings appear. The first discoveries appear like the breath of a debate. Some terrorists here have preferred to flee. Other ambushes will lose their lives. The fighters will search the undergrowth from top to bottom. Every movement here increases the tension and Kalashnikov's crackle. The lookout has just been neutralized. The base is destroyed without much resistance. This captured terrorist fighter will receive proper humane treatment and shelter. The Burkina Faso army is highly respectful of human rights. We are deep in the commune of Dekit. It's in the well. The power of the state has returned to this forested world, through which the iconic Moon River winds. Over time, it had become a haven for terrorists who sow terror and plunder the population. The unwary here are subjected to slavery, to cultivate the land and serve as human shields in the event of a fight with the army. The new masters of this territory are therefore heartless, determined to oppose warrior tactics to the military, the terrorists' mine trails and concessions. Everywhere, the risk is on foot and very cruel. The element has just struck an improvised explosive device at the entrance of a house filled with town. The bomb disposal expert is in action and ensures that the danger is completely eliminated. Because sometimes we stumble upon minefields, the sergeant is not created one of the best of his generation, they say, here in images, will remain in the explosion of a mine a few days after this action. In this recaptured village, the maneuver will record 2 incidents. 2 wounded among us are evacuated to Bogos for appropriate care. Close to the fighting, A helicopter ensures vaccinations as quickly as possible to minimize losses. After a few hours of rest, the unit resumes its advance. On the ground as in the air, the hunt is relentless on both sides of the fire. It is the chase between determined soldiers and fleeing terrorist fighters. The strategy carried out by the 2nd Rapid Intervention Group aims to catch the enemy in a vice in a coordinated action. Between homemade mines and ambush, the reconquest of the many is imposed step by step. The self-proclaimed one that once went to make howl mirages of power collapses here like a camp castle. No longer resembles those who wanted to be an empire of crime. In this zone held by comrades of the 7th Rapid Intervention Battalion, there is practically no major combat. Some terrorists, at least the luckiest ones, attack the river and seek an unfindable refusal because the 18th and 23 Rapid Intervention Battalions crisscross the eastern and northern zones. No escape. We are told that the 10th Rapid Intervention Battalion has just gained the upper hand in an ambush. We have a meeting with this unit on another zone in the coming days. We are here in Zamzaka. From there, we embark for the other bank of the river where the companies of the 18th and 23rd Marbles await us. In the belly of the perched helicopter, silence reigns, faces closed. This is the largest part of the forest, bordering villages that have become sanctuaries for terrorist leaders. The action on this side promises to be intense and undoubtedly violent. With no respite in this region, daily life is punctuated by urgency and adversity, with an escalation of Kenya. Once peaceful, this village has seen its daily life descend into anxiety and survival. The inhabitants, in the turmoil of terrorism, endured months of deprivation, fear, and enforced silence. Today, a new balance has been established. A gainat maintained by the will to defend the homeland. Men and women determined to defend their lands at all costs. Life returns to normal, and the flag flies again. Similarly, Dinkena has not forgotten her injuries, but she resists. There is still hope in this operation that plunges us into the unknown of the Lolo forest. After a few hours of hilltop road, the rest will be on foot for dozens of kilometers. Here, all minds are prepared to face adversity and hunt down the enemy in its entrenchments under the scorching sun. The settlers paradoxically form in the good atmosphere enough to give energy to the fighters. A vital energy for the rest of the operation. As the danger intensifies, adrenaline secretly rises in the vein. It is not only a battle for survival that the men demand, it is a fight for mastery of the terrain, for the neutralization of an omnipresent threat. He calls himself Fatal, a nickname of a warrior who is afraid of nothing. With these men of the 23rd Rapid Intervention Battalion, he covers a strategic position in the patrol, which waxes the thunderous forest. The other officer who commands the right wing of the column, he advances with essentially elements of the 18th. We are in the heart of the forest, a place favored by terrorists to no doubt avoid strikes from combat drones. The abandoned belongings, the animals and the traces of motorcycles tell a story of escape and perhaps imminent confrontation. Each part is a decision, each breath is a battle against fatigue, thirst too. Everyone here will drink and carry as much water as possible for the rest of the journey. The quality of the liquid doesn't matter. The atmosphere is colorful. On the other side of the camera, a soldier enjoys capturing our memories at the edge of a muddy puddle. War and its constraints dictate a fragrant life. No luxury for terrorist hunters. We are finally out in the open in another village. Bumoun is empty. The terrorists have just decamped, leaving everything behind. Cattle rustling is a way to live without sacrificing their favorite sport. Hundreds of oxen are left in the wild. They're all going to be escorted away. For now, the hunt continues. The Thunderbolt coordinates with the right to strike. As we advance, the enemy refuses to take control, he flees constantly, but we too will follow them or else we will cross paths since it is them that we are looking for. Thank you. In the concessions, the discoveries are real evidence and above all proof that those who lived here were not saints. This is a clear sign that the hours to come will be decisive. The mission continues day by day on a polluted thesis. The illustration in this store. Tons of grain will all be destroyed before the forest continues. Spontaneous threats are quickly contained and the resources recovered. The terrorists are increasingly cornered and are looking for a way to risk everything. On foot, we cross prostrate villages, annihilated or caught in a ferocious heatwave. The mercury is close to 42 degrees Celsius, and even nature is suffocating. The forest, filled with its enemies, becomes the scene of an inevitable confrontation. You see, Sadie, that's all the madness was there. The concrete sultan at the head has just caught the enemy in his own trap. Tensions are rising among the rats. The position is in demand. We deploy quickly. Here, as elsewhere, ambushes are a flash in the pan. The enemy quickly disengaged.
Ouais, ça va?
Ouais, ça va très bien.
Le moral?
Ouais, moral est haut.
The traces of a violent attack ended in a fizzle. The leader has just lost the battle, his life too. A certain Lukman, the eminence grise of the so-called Katiba who reigned supreme here. The inglorious end of a criminal who terrorized the populations. When the gunfire started from beyond our front, we all pushed back the hands that had taken Africa. On the friendly side, the fighting left a few wounded, out of danger and quickly evacuated. Like the rise, we decided like that, as long as we don't neutralize these people, we won't go back, and it's up to us. We'll ask the command whether to finish there to be able to track them down and neutralize them before going back. The challenge is launched. And for the infantrymen, it's a question of dignity. This action marks a decisive turning point in the maneuver. In this daring operation, the physical and mental strength of the men involved becomes their most formidable weapon. The units push the enemy further and further, entrenching themselves with women and children. Most are hostages to serve as human shields in the inevitable hand-to-hand combat. In this territory south of Solenzo, death has won over life. It feels like a movie, but this is not fiction. The terrifying image of a war that has already killed thousands of Burkinabés and has lasted for about 10 years. In this living area, we gradually discover the gruesome outline of the executioners. Joint forces on the banks of the river. How many bodies are buried there? Who are they? No one knows. What is certain is that those who buried them crossed the river and here they are under the surveillance drone. It's now a matter of life or death. They're surrounded on all sides because the tactics have transformed the jungle into a chessboard where every move is decisive. There are tricks there. This game of hide and seek will last 3 days and 3 nights along the banks of the river. Another camera note: intense fighting with units stationed on the other bank has helped crush the enemy. More than 300 hostages have been freed and taken to Ouagadougou. Recovered weapons, banknotes too, makeshift images brought back by the soldiers. The epilogue of 10 days of hunting through the wind and, above all, against all odds. The unexpected weather blows hot and cold on the men who use their weapons. The moment is tense, as is the journey. Have you received our messages? At the end of the line, Captain Soleil, who is assisting Captain Ouattara from the operations center. As the men climb onto the last base and the entire thread, the command prepares for the consolidation of the buried conquered. Hundreds of trained and equipped VDPs are ready to be deployed throughout the military campaign zone. Dozens of villages, now free, taken in hand by the wolf for the defense of the homeland. Discreetly, Operation Green Whirlwind is relaunching and entering its second offensive phase. Next, we have an appointment with a certain Pinga, an army captain at the head of a shock unit. The mission is to recapture the commune of Dit and its surroundings. It is in the Soru Valley in the early morning that we find ourselves. The commando ready to hit the road again after a night's rest. The Dragoon Unit, or the 10th Rapid Intervention Battalion, is in the lead, followed by the 18th. The trail seemed innocent, but here, no one is as good as it gets. It had been said that it would lead us to the headquarters of the terrorists in the area. The captain knows this well, having maneuvered several times in this zone. Here, a few instructions guarantee our safety during the operation. The officer, very careful about the view of his men. The bomb disposal experts here meticulously track improvised explosive devices. The bête noire of a soldier in the operation. Some announce the costs in this large-scale operation that left more than a dozen dead. During its first phase, the mission is one of multiple upheavals. The infantrymen on the lookout prevail against cunning and ever-fleeing lookouts. Tiao, Alkum and Pura, the inhabited villages have been cleared. The destination is said to be about 10 kilometers away. Captain Pinga, a rock among the men, is ready to take the enemy head-on. The two tanks, we're told that the terrorists are leaving. The town is bordered by the deep river. Motorcycles, armored vehicles, and Pekingese are churning the ground, and in record time, the commando paratrooper and his men surround the village. The tension is palpable. Dit holds his breath. The terrorist leaders in the area have just been caught, but nothing is conclusive yet. The remaining elements have retreated to the surrounding villages. So, the manhunt continues over a radius of nearly 20 kilometers. We're in Malian territory. A few hours earlier, the terrorists still held this position, along with a training center. A classroom was taking what looks like a combat capture as the hit of the day. The perimeter, all the Akas. The stun team has just stumbled upon a stockpile of fertilizer. They use it to manufacture explosives, and here they are, in case we pass by, so that it can destroy our means, so that it can destroy ourselves as fighters. The only message we have in mind is for them to lay down their arms and come to the homeland. For now, in the woods, some prefer to flee. Yet the means are paltry compared to the army's arsenal. The price of crime, far from a dignified burial. The toll stands at hundreds of terrorists neutralized in Operation Green Whirlwind. After a few hours of searching, the unit returns to the base, arms full. On the other bank of the river, companies from some rapid intervention battalions are advancing. They are preparing to engage in their umpteenth battle in the area. These terrorists, seen by the drone, are preparing an ambush in the forest. For the first time since the beginning of the anti-terrorist fight, the army is setting foot on Hilla soil on the border with Mali. The same fervor is evident some 10 kilometers beyond the waters. The commandos are back. He too is now free. The fall of the hegemony of crime. It's to land him there. In the heart of the Canton chief's palace, emotion was palpable. The army's arrival marked the end of a long period of humiliation for the guardians of tradition, who had to endure the terrorists' day. Under the palab tree, glances were exchanged in 10 languages. There was still hope, though. He was named for the 10 are rising up, and with them, its custodians of the history of the identity of an entire people and a unique land called the breadbasket of Burkina Faso. Market Day, said to be a place of convergence. A wind of freedom is blowing again in the shelves with a star. At the other end of the market, prices are being discussed. Everyone wants to get their hands on the T-shirt bearing the president's image, a sign of independence. It's not just that. It's the entire mode of dress that had been changed. Freedom is thus granted to God. Adults now enjoy all their rights, and children indulge in their passions to their heart's content. Younger children play soccer, while older children indulge in another pastime once considered a crime of lèse-majesté under the reign of terrorists. Until late into the night, they let off steam with the young people. Unthinkable just a few days ago. Painful memories give way to the choice of the future. Here, as elsewhere, defending the territory is a long-term and sometimes perilous struggle. Captain Piraeus and his men are preparing a search mission in the Maragrant and Gasson area. The objective is clear: to impose a decisive presence of combat forces and secure a strategic area. The valley has a potential for large-scale pastoralism, which has made its reputation for decades. These assets come from the river that flows through it. Despite the security crisis, the turbines here are running at full capacity, irrigating an area of approximately 2,240 hectares. This development was carried out in 2012 for the benefit of more than 4,000 producers. With restored security, many farmers can now work with their hearts set on high.